Have you ever wondered how the winner is determined at your local government election? How do they count the votes? Well then, keep watching. Hi there everyone, and welcome back to Councillor Chamonix. Now, have you ever wondered how the votes are actually determined when they do the local government election count after, obviously, the elections? It can be quite tricky at times, but I will be telling you exactly how that happens here in Western Australia. Today I'll give you a very simple explanation on how it actually works and how the counts are done and how the votes are cast in the local government election. I've helped thousands of people in the past and I have successfully campaigned in many elections, and today I would like to help you too. But before we jump in, I want to make sure that you are subscribed to this channel because we have many more videos like this one coming. This is one of 17 in the series of how-to election videos. And if you hit the subscribe and the notification bell, YouTube will let you know when I post a new video. It will be weekly on every Tuesday at this point in time, and I hope that you will be able to follow along with all of those. All right, let's dive in. Here are the ways that your votes are counted and cast at the elections in Western Australian councils. The first thing is that ballots are cast either via postal vote at the present time or via an in-person vote. Now, usually how that works is that there's a number of days or weeks before the actual election day, and the actual election day just means it's the last day that the election is on, in which you can cast your vote. Now, you usually receive your vote through the mail and it will arrive at your home, and you can then fill in the ballot box and post it back. Just make sure that it's back in time, of course, or you can hand deliver it back to your council. Alternatively, on election day, which is the last day of election, as I said, you can go to your local council and you can actually cast your ballot there in person. When electronic voting is going to come, I don't know, but I can tell you that I'm surely hanging out for that to happen. If so many other jurisdictions can do electronic voting, there's no reason why we can't get into the digital age either. So hopefully that's one of the places that things will pick up soon. What then happened at the end of the election day, which is usually around 6 o'clock, is that the voting are count, or the results are counted by the scrutineers. And that happens at a central location with people who, obviously, as I say, scrutineers, who the candidates can choose to represent them, will then go to these places and watch over, I guess, the people who are actually counting the votes physically by hand, sorting them out, putting them in different piles, and then basically tallying up as they go along. There's usually a running tally on the board, so you will have either a computer screen or a whiteboard where people will be writing up the number of votes as they go along. And this is quite interesting to be involved in because sometimes somebody who's ahead can then come in the second round of counts and just pass the first person. Or what we usually see is that the pattern that is there at the beginning of the night usually ends up to be the same pattern that's at the end. The only area where it does make a difference is when there's a very close count. Another aspect that's interesting for local government elections is that it's first past the post. In other words, it's not preferential voting. So the first person who has the most votes, I guess, is the person who wins. I say the first person, well, the person who gets the most votes is the person who wins. It's not like in our state or federal elections where there are preferences that are distributed after the first round of counting. It's basically a first round of count, and the result at the end of the night is the result that you will see. That's how the winner is elected. Now, before we continue, I just want to make sure that this is making sense. Right? Oh yes, in the comments below if you are following. Another thing that's quite interesting is that you are elected for your ward if your council has a ward system. In other words, if your council has, for example, 3 or 5 wards and you live in, well, obviously one of those wards, then you are elected by the other residents who live in those wards. Once you are elected though, you usually represent the whole of the city, which is an interesting concept. You are elected by your ward, only those residents in your ward, and you are classed as a councillor for that ward. But when you make decisions at the council table, you have to take into account the benefits, the pros and the cons that are involved for the whole of your city, not only your ward. Now, if your council does not have a ward system, then obviously you are elected as one of a number, let's say 10 or 12 councillors, and they're all elected by all the people, and you just have a general number of councillors who are part of that whole council situation. Now, when the mayor is elected, things are a little bit different. The mayor can either be elected by an executive mayoral system, which is being popularly elected, or the mayor can be elected by a council itself. And when the mayor is elected by the council itself, party politics can play quite a big influence on how that mayor is elected. Because if you have a number of councillors from a specific political persuasion on council, they could easily determine by voting together in a block who the mayor will be. If the mayor is voted in by the people, obviously then that is the residents of the whole of that municipality who has a say over who they want their leader to be. The deputy mayor, however, is usually elected by council. So the deputy mayor is usually a person who is elected normally as a councillor by their either ward or the normal system of councillors that is operating in their area. And then once that person is elected as a councillor, the council has a vote on who they want to be their deputy mayor. And that role usually runs for 2 years, because every 2 years when we have a new election, new councillors are elected, of course, and then the council re-elects who they want their deputy mayor to be for the next 2 years until there's a new election. The question of the day is, have you ever run in elections where preferential voting is involved? Write yes and what year or what kind of election that was in the comments below, and we can all reflect on the interesting times that we've run and elections, different ways of results and vote counting that have happened in the past, and whether you've been involved in any other kind of political elections before. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it as always. If you would like to get a copy of how a councillor is elected, my summary of this talk, feel free to click on the link in the description below and you can get it directly to your inbox. Make sure you hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe if you want to receive the notifications to when I upload my next video, and hit the notification bell, which is that little bell sign next to the subscribe button. And YouTube will let you know every time that I upload a new video. I will post the link to my 17 election videos down in the description below. And make sure to watch all of them, because there is some great information in there that'll help you get elected next time you run in the election. Share this video with someone who you think will find it beneficial to watch. You never know who needs to run an election again. And comment on it if you like this video as well. And I will be sure to see you in the next one. Remember to design the one life that you have to make it worth your while. See you in the next video. Cheers.